Welcome to the Modern Masculine Man Podcast, Mitch. Woo!
How y'all doing today? Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all know I got to do it like I do it every week. I got to update this thing and make sure we live on every page. Miss Carla, say what's up to the people while we wait.
Hello, babes. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well. Getting ready to get started in a hot topic. Once again, we're going to rant and rave tonight.
The volume is a little off. Let me make sure that this ain't me that's got you off like that. Let's see.
Okay.
Make sure on this end we good over here. Okay, we good over here. Say something again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Am I good? Am I good?
I'm hearing a little kind of.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me check my settings. Let's see what the audio is looking like here.
Yeah, we want you to come in as clear as possible.
Can you hear me now? How's that? Oh, wait a minute. I got to turn this up. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. It's not as clear as normal, but we're going to go ahead and get started.
I just turned the volume up, so you should be. Am I better now?
Yeah, a little better. Yeah, definitely better.
Okay, here we are.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. How y'all doing this week, folks? We hope y'all having a beautiful week. It's halfway through the week. It's midweek Wednesdays. What they call it? Is it? It's Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday's a hump day. Yeah.
And the weeks are going by, so the days are going by so damn fast. I ain't even realize it was Wednesday till just now. So yeah, it's Wednesday, and y'all know how we do on Wednesdays. Me and Miss Carla, we come to y'all, and Miss Carla, she always got a beautiful topic for us to discuss. And today we're gonna be discussing what? Sexless love. Sexless love. When you sent the topic, I was like, wow, that's going to be a good topic. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce why you picked that topic, what it's about, and we're going to go ahead and get started on it.
Well, as you know, or if you haven't had a chance to kind of research me, I do a lot of relationship topics that I know is affecting lovers. It is affecting them because they are just struggling with different nuances in love affairs. And if we're honest, love changes, so does our intimacy in our relationships, aka our sex life, getting it on, the whole kit and caboodle. So anyway, I've been seeing a lot of conversations revolving around intimacy and sex. And so I thought tonight would be a really good night to talk about how we get in these marriages and relationships to where the women are incentivizing being in a monogamous relationship. And then they begin to say, it's not tonight and I'm too tired, I don't feel like it. Or they just pretty much move out of the bedroom altogether. And you're like, well, I thought you were the one that was initiating being in a relationship. So what happened? And then after that happens, the man decides, well, I have needs. And I'm either going to handle that with another female, because I'm not going to stay in this deprivation. And so, of course, he might have one or two or a couple that he decides to become intimate with. And then when that happens, then she finds out. Now, all of a sudden, she's got an issue with it because that's unacceptable. And then, of course, the infidelity causes for there to be a breakup or a divorce, a dissolution of relation because of the sexless situation. And so I have wrote about this, and it kind of got a little hot on my Facebook page, where I just kind of said, well, you want monogamy, you struggle with monotony, and then you get upset about infidelity. It's like, well, all of these things are a result of not being, upfront about what's really going on in the mind of the woman, in the heart of the man, even if it's something that's an issue. So I thought tonight would be a great time to talk about, how do we get here? How do we want intimacy and monogamy, but we hate monotony. How does that happen?
Well, I think we all know that a relationship for a woman is about securing something. You know what I mean? It's you're securing a bag, you're securing a man, you're securing protection, you're securing provision. So a lot of times in those situations, once a woman kind of get what she wants, she got what she wants. And in her mind, I think she lives this fairy tale that once I got this man, his eyes are going to be for me, only me. This man don't want to lose his family. I think they use the fact that they can play the victim against men. You know what I'm saying? Not being funny, and vice versa, because there are some women in sexless love situations. But for the most part, me speaking from a man's point of view, I think they use the fact that I know I told my wife when we first got together, I said one of the reasons I wanted to have an open situation was I never wanted to be a man that was looked upon as lost his family because he couldn't control his dick. You know what I mean? There's so many men out here that are in relationships that are not having sex. Yeah. And they are suffering and they feel so bad because they know the minute they get caught cheating, the woman gonna play the victim and make it all about them being a selfless, controlless person. So it's amazing to me how you get in situations where people don't realize a person really needs sex. And that's one of the things I'm gonna discuss in my class, sex. That's one of the number one things you need to discuss before you go into a relationship with a person. That's almost like discussing eating. You know what I'm saying? What are we going to eat? Do we eat meat? Do we eat veggies? Like, what are we going to eat? And it's crazy to be in a situation with a man or a person where they're the only person that you can have sex with and they holding out from you. I was in a situation, I'm talking to a brother now, I'm kind of doing one-on-one discourse with him, and his lady will not want him to have sex and caught him masturbating and still shamed him and went crazy and said he ain't got no self-control.
Well, again, let's be honest. I think a lot of the problem is revolving around the mindset of what intimacy with sex is. Let me make a real clear statement about sex. Sex is for us to be creative. It is a creative energy engaged inside of you that you're creating with another human being or another woman or man, whichever way you're going here. So if you're a woman making love to a man or a man's making love to a woman, you are a creator. So we are creating in our space, in our privacy, we are creating a creative energy. So when we are making love and having all of this unity and energy exchanged in the moment, this is to help us to catapult into our greatness. This is why, if you can recall last week, I had explained to you how a lot of visionary men have higher sex drives.
Yeah.
Remember I mentioned that last week. Well, the reason I mention that is because a lot of men that have higher sex drives find themselves in a shaming situation like what you're mentioning now, where the woman they're involved with or the women they're involved with are always trying to mandate or criticize what he's doing with his penis or with his dick. Why are we monitoring that? Perhaps we need to be focusing on our own genitalia that is attached to us. This is just the raw truth. A man is going to desire to be intimate, regardless. It's just what it is. It's by nature. And we should have the same desire. Problem is, once we start to get into this monogamous thinking, we believe that we own or we possess the man. Rather than being involved with him and engaging in his energy and being grateful and in gratitude when we are. Here's what's true. And you remember I mentioned this last time. He only has one dick. She only has one vajayjay. So at the end of the day, you can only be with one at a time. That's only humanly possible. Here's what's also important to understand. When we think we can take on managing someone else's body part that is not attached to us. We waste a lot of time on what we should be doing with our pure existence.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Do you think it's that some women, I'm going to tell you a quick story my grandfather told me. I remember, well, yeah, I could tell the story. Shit, my grandfather dead. If shit, it was just like
tonight. I don't want to hear it.
You know what? It's kind of like hearing your grandparents say something, and now that you're older, you really realize it. I remember my grandfather was sitting around one day, and his son was joking. Like, he said, "Mama don't love you no more, Daddy." It was something happened, and then he said, "That's how you know Mama just stopped loving you, Daddy." And he said, "Your mama stopped loving me about 20 years ago." And his son, my uncle, was like, "What you mean she stopped loving you 20 years ago? How you know that?" He said, "I know she stopped loving me when she stopped offering to suck my dick." And then I heard my uncle start laughing. Then my granddaddy said, "You know, a woman don't care about you no more when she don't offer to suck your dick no more." And I thought about that. Now, that shit is so true. That shit is so true, because if a woman really like you and care about you, it's not about keeping the balls drained. Women say, "Girl, keep them balls drained." No, a man's sex drive is different. Your man, you can suck your man off and he can leave the house, and by the time he get to the car, a new woman, he's hard again. Let me just make it clear to women. You can suck your man off twice that morning. If a new woman walk in the room, he gonna get hard. Now let me explain that real quick so people, women and men alike, can understand this. Men are made to procreate. That's what we're wired for. So you notice, and women can say this about their man, and I'm gonna just be real. If you're a woman, I could sleep with you one time that night, and I'm so good. I've been like that since I was a kid, since I was a teenager. One for me is good. Now, if I'm real attracted to you, maybe 2-3 times for the most part. But the older you get and the longer you've been with a woman, you're not going to be going back to back 2 times a night. So the point I'm making is, a man can sleep with his woman one time and be done. If you bring another new woman in that room an hour later and an hour later, and he'll get hard every time for that new woman, because his nature is wired to procreate. So saying that, men actually need to ski. So my grandfather was saying, if a woman don't want to have sex, that's her. That's up to her body. She don't feel like it. But if she don't suck you off, she ain't thinking about you no more. And it's so true. It's so true. I hear men in the barbershop all the time be like, "Yeah, you know, it's Thanksgiving coming up." They get some head on special occasions. And those dudes I be looking at like, it's such a whack sucker, weak ass looking man in real life. And then you're gonna come out and say this in front of people. "Yeah, I don't get head unless it's my birthday, unless I take out." I'll be like, "You sucker ass, weak ass pussy nigga, damn."
Well, let's just say this. So what you mentioned is true. I agree that that the oral engagement with a partner that you love, it is a part of that engagement. But I am going to go down a foresight for a moment, because you mentioned your grandfather. What I like to explain is intimacy takes creativity. What I mean by that is this: if you are involved with your lover, with your partner, you must understand that it may come a time as a woman or as a man where your equipment needs some tweaking, or may not be working too well, if you know what I mean. So in that event, we'll just say that there's erectile dysfunction going on. And I talked about this before, because I told you I worked for United Healthcare for over 21 years, and we talked about that. And you go through an erectile dysfunction. Sometimes, and I think I mentioned this on the last show, sometimes it's not necessarily that he's his erections aren't working properly because of a medical condition. Sometimes it's because his woman or women that he deals with is not really shooting off the fire. What I mean by shooting off the fire is we energetically, when we come into your space, your energy, a man responds. Normally, he responds not from his penile area, his penis, but he responds. His body can feel. It's an energetic field around a man.
Yeah.
When I enter into that field, he's going to respond. So it doesn't always have to take his erection to make him, want to be close to you or want to feel touched by you or want to be kissed by you. There's other things besides just the intimacy.
Yeah.
So we got to get creative as we age to understand that, yes, sex is essential. Sex is important. But we also have to realize there's going to take a time where I might have to be doing more oral than I do sex because of the fact that the equipment's not working. Women go through a space where we're premenopausal and we may have dryness and it's just not acceptable at this point. Not because I don't want you, not because I don't need you, not because I don't desire you and want to be with you. It's just the equipment's off. Yes, we're having some issues going on down there. So rather than me saying I don't want to touch you, no, let's still engage. Let's still touch. Let's still embrace. Let's still caress. Let's still have some fun.
So we talking about equipment being not working, right? So say for example, how you explain that. You really have to like somebody to want them in your space and ain't no sex going down. You know what I'm saying? You really have to like somebody to be intimate. So when we talk about equipment, like let's discuss a myth real quick.
Okay.
Now, and you could tell me this.
Mm-hmm.
As a man, we know the older you get, your girth is not the same. Everything is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Now they got pills that you can take. Be the same like you was 17, but your heart and your lungs ain't the same. The point I'm making is
right.
Women say so much, and I always say women say the opposite of everything. When you get older, I'm at my peak, my horniness in 50 and 60. And I'm like, how is that possible? You may be mentally horny because you ain't getting none because God telling your body it's time to settle down. But how are you wetter at 50 than you was at 20? Speak on that for me, because you just said something real. When women hit premenopausal, they don't have the same wetness.
We can have premenopausal symptoms.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which means sometimes we may go in stages where we have the vaginal dryness, the vaginal tightness. You can't even get in there, all of those things. But to speak on the 50-licious, because that's what I am. I've always had a high drive. My drive has never been compromised, whether I was 20, whether I was 30, whether I was 40, and now 50-licious. It ain't changing. It's still the same. Blessings to the super high. But I will
I know you was gonna say that, right? I gotta play devil's advocate. I know you gonna say, I ain't had no my shit.
Hey, listen.
Of course you're gonna say that.
Of course, I got to keep it sexy, even if I was drier than a Sahara desert. I'm gonna tell you, I've been sitting in water. You know what I'm saying?
At least that's why I like you, Miss Carla.
Make it look good.
Yeah, it's like all the guys that go to prison, they be like, I just seen men get raped and slammed and beat up, and I be like, why none of that happened to you? Oh, the grace of God, grace of God, grace of God.
Grace, absolutely.
If we take a little pause for the calls for a second, just to say, hey, look, if you in the house right now, can we get you to say yay, yay? We want you to interact. We want you to interact. There's 78 people in the house. We only got 4 likes. I always say your likes and interactions is what makes YouTube think that, hey, this is somebody watching. Not I could have 7 damn phones set up in here just to make myself look good. But
I don't think you can see. We got some people. We got Dayley saying hey, K Russ.
Exactly.
Doc, we got Chris, Ace, and we got Tissa.
There we go. There we go. So what I want to get into is a situation where how do women expect a man to marry them and then be monogamous with them, don't cheat, and they know they're not having sex often enough for that man? I think it could create an animosity. I think it can create a situation where I've literally heard men say shit like, almost like, I don't work as hard or strive to be my best for this woman because she ain't giving me no pussy. I hear men say shit like this. Is it as open in the hair salons as it is the barbershops? Where do women sit around joking about starving their men out? Because men sit around and talk about openly how they ain't getting no pussy. And I would just sit here and say, and it's be the married men the most.
Right. Well,
is that a conversation in the salons?
No, I don't think the beauty salons have that conversation. Let me tell you where the conversations are happening. These are the hush-hush conversations at the family reunions or when we have, family gatherings. We're talking amongst the aunties and the grandmas and the mamas are talking to the younger women about, you don't give him none if he ain't taking care of home. You don't give him none if he's not paying the bills. How you giving it up and he's not, and the lights ain't on? Why is your bills not paid? He's up there laying up with you. Why is he not? This is where the conversations are coming from. So it's not necessarily coming from the beauty salons, because at the beauty salons, we're just trying to look good and we're trying to sit there and enjoy ourselves. We got gossip about stuff going on around, talking about, stuff on the internet and stuff like that. Those are those conversations. Yeah. But when you're talking about how we are playing with sex and how the sex should be a bargain ship, that is conversated through families. And normally it's the aunties, the grandmas, and the mamas that have a tendency to educate the younger women that are newly married that you don't give up nothing if you're not getting nothing. Problem with this narrative, well, the problem with this narrative, Javon, is that we're now using our intimate life and our sex as a bargain ship. And when you're putting your sex life on bargain, that's how it's getting played. So now you're not ever really getting full on intimacy. You're getting transactional sex, which is like prostitution. I talk about often and all the time. Yeah. And not only is it transactional, but it is also very manipulative. So I'm not going to give you nothing unless I'm getting something. But that shouldn't be up for any type of bargaining, period, when you're talking about sex and intimacy. Sex and intimacy is a part of being in a love affair.
Yeah. What's funny? It's so funny because I tell women that I do one-on-ones with women, and you'll hear me die on this vine. Women do shit the exact opposite of what they think a man gonna respond to. I remember when I first got with my wife and she said something about sex, and I said, hey, look, you'll be better off not buying toilet paper to get my attention. You'll be better off not buying toothpaste, the things and deodorant, the things that I look up and say, well, hey, ain't no damn deodorant. What's going on? Because if you think you're going to get my attention by starving me for some pussy, you got another thing coming. I'm going to go get me some pussy. If you think that you can control sex, you better get. So my thing is, I look at it like this. And this is what I tell women. And I'm talking to this church lady. I'm like, yo, when you get home from church, just go straight in and give your husband some head and fuck the shit out of him. She like, how? You know what? I said, because that'll make him come to that church and be like, damn, what the hell going on in this church? You know what I'm saying? If you're going to use sex, you got to use it as a positive reinforcement. And that's something that women don't understand. There are positive reinforcements, negative reinforcements, and then you have punishments. So we're talking about behaviorism, how to control people's behavior. So me, if I'm a woman and I want to use sex, I'm fucking my man all the time. I'm sucking him all the time. So that when he decides to not do something my way, then I withhold a little bit. And now he's like, damn, I'm getting fucked and sucked all the time. So hey, baby, what's going on? I'm used to getting fucked and sucked all the time now. What's going on? And so that's when you present, well, this, you didn't do this, and I'm not feeling well. It's like, how can you?
I still don't agree.
I understand you don't agree with it, but what I'm saying is simply like this, like a drug addict. You can't get hooked on something that you ain't getting often enough. You see what I'm saying? How can you punish me with something you don't give me? That's like me saying, well, if you don't do this, I ain't gonna give you no pussy. I'd be like, you don't give me no pussy anyway. You know?
Right. So what's that gonna do?
Giving me sex all the time and withhold it. Then I would be like, hey, now I'm not saying I agree with you. I'm saying specifically we shouldn't use sex and withhold love as a form of manipulation and control. Yeah. But if you're gonna do that,
if you're going to do it, then make sure you in a proper body, right? In a proper manner.
If you're gonna do it, that's like your kid. You'd say your kid, if you don't make all A's, we ain't going to Disney World. Your kid like, well, we ain't never been to Disney World. Why would I? You got to take them to Disney World once.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So how are you withholding sex as a form of control?
I don't agree with it, and I also see. On occasion where certain narrative has been expressed that celibacy inside of marriage or partnership is acceptable, and again, I have to disagree, because for me, what is the point in being in an intimate affair with your partner, with your lover, with your husband, whatever you got going on? Why are we shutting down intimacy? For me, let me explain. I believe that if you're in an intimate affair and you two have decided that you're going to be each other's source of love, source of sex, then it's important and imperative that we get it clear that that is not something that we withhold from each other. It is my due diligence to be not your dependent as a wife or as a lover or as a partner. My job is to be dependable.
Yeah.
So what that means is I should be concerned about your sexual desires and urges. It should be my mere responsibility out of selflessness to care about how you are taken care of in that department. What I mean by that is I'm not saying that I'm being intimate with you often to make sure and have like an insurance policy that you're not going to go out here and be with someone else. I'm not doing all that for that. But what I am doing is if I am on a higher frequency with you in the sexual department, I'm realizing that you are trying to build and grow something. You're trying to create something. You're trying to, we're trying to build something on a different level. Then we got to make a lot of love so you can get that creative energy up. That's number one. Number two, if I feel like you really are trying to, have some relaxation when you come home, I'm going to take care of that. What I'm saying is it is my due diligence and my responsibility as your lover, your source of intimacy, to be mindful and be dependable and be welcoming when I am in there with you. Why?
How does that look, though?
Women just want to just lay there and be like, whatever, just take it.
I have a question because maybe this is a patriarchy. And I think we've looked at sex and intimacy through society as something that a woman has to keep up for a man, not necessarily that a man has to keep this up for a woman. It's almost like a man's, the way I've been taught and the way I have looked at it. And I realize it's wrong.
Okay.
It's almost like a man's sex drive is a fire. Mm-hmm. And a woman got to throw wood on it ever so often to keep, you know what I'm saying? That's how we've been taught. We've never been taught that a man, like you said, has a sexual responsibility to his woman.
Absolutely.
Whereas we are agreeing that we're going to come together in a monogamous relationship.
Or it doesn't even have to be monogamous. It could just be in a relationship. We're in a relationship.
Yes. So we have agreed to be each other's source for sex. Now, it's almost like I said, there's an understanding that a woman must be a source for man. So there's a pressure put upon a woman, but there's not a pressure put upon a man. Right. So what's that dynamic? Is that nature or that's just society? How do we like, I don't and even in my marriage, you know what I'm saying? My wife come to me for sex and you know what I'm saying? But I don't be feeling pressured like, oh, I gotta fuck all the time. I gotta fuck all the time. But it seems like the woman be under pressure, like I gotta fuck all the time. What is that? Like, what's that? Is that nature? What do you feel about that dynamic?
I feel like it is. Well, because if we think about it, you brought up patriarchy first, which again, when there is a higher amount of men driving certain narratives, and we're seeing certain images through societal norms, speaking about things and talking amongst each other, a lot of times our source of sexual truths come from a male perspective. So now for me, I have no problem. I always kind of was moved by Dr. Ruth years ago. And I always said, there's really not a Black woman out here really helping with our Black community to understand intimacy in a different kind of light and in a different way. And so I believe that it just hasn't been shared that women actually have sexual needs as well. And not only just that, it really is something that a man should really want to do to his woman, because what he'll notice is she'll start to build up a confidence that's undeniable, and she'll start to she'll actually start to bring out a newer essence and beauty and elegance in her spirit just from him making love to her. Because when a man makes love to a woman, what he is doing during intimacy outside of just enjoying it with her, he's actually showing her her beauty, not her external beauty. He's in that moment with her, in engagement sexually with her, to show her she is valid and important and moving him to a sexual orgasm. That actually helps the woman to see her beauty. Even in her cellulite and flaws or wrinkles or whatever, she still feels beautiful just from that sexual act alone.
So can we dispel a couple of myths right quick? So
okay,
I've always said situations where women be like, oh, he was a 2-minute man. Oh, he a 1-minute man. He ain't no good. He ain't no good. And I've always said, when a woman like you, that's her fucking highlight of her day is to finish you quick. You know what I'm saying? I used to remember my grandma used to say, if you can't make him finish quick, you ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like when a man come quick for you, you just slayed him. You just satisfied him. You just put him down. Mm-hmm. Is that the case? Or like you said, I think sometimes pop culture be like, oh, he's a minute man. Like if you got some good pussy, he going to be done quick. If you know what you're doing, he going to be done quick. Is that a source of pride for a woman? Or is that something that a woman be like, he done? Or, speak on that for me.
Well, I feel like if a woman is in her sexual prowess season and she is good in high-end skills, then yeah, she does want to see that she can make him have that orgasmic experience quick. And it does give her a badge of honor in her own spirit and ego. But to be all the way honest, a man that can kind of stay in and be there and not get so caught up in being in there, but really in the present.
Yeah.
You start to realize how much more enjoyable it is when it's longer. But the minute men they're not disregarded. And let me just say this, sometimes we do just want a quickie, just like men. We do want a quickie, and sometimes we want it for 2-3 hours. I mean, we have our moments in time and seasons of what we want.
Yeah, because I know if your woman just giving you some because she know you need some and she concerned about you, she not going to be as into it, not as loose. She not going to be as wet. It's going to take longer for it to open up. So I call it mercy sex. When your woman just bending over, giving you some pussy because she know you need some, she wants you to come quick. You know what I'm saying? She don't want you back in the switch position. She like, I'm tired. I'm trying to give you some pussy or some head. Straighten you out with the camera. Oh yeah, baby, this one of them nights. Been that shit. You don't want all that. So let me say something, and this is what I want to say, and I don't think people be honest enough. The longer you're with somebody, it takes events, occasions, things that happen. Like, people don't realize that as a man, I feel like vice versa, there's also a performance pressure that's put on a man. Where it's like all of a sudden it's like, if a woman want to have sex immediately, you better be ready, you better be hard, and if you're not hard, you've been fucking somebody else. I don't feel attractive. And it's like, hey, like I would tell my wife sometime, it's funny because women, I've found, don't like to get rejected in the moment. So I've found that most of the time women don't just roll over to a man or come in the house and offer themselves to a man. A woman like to pre-weigh just in case so she don't get rejected. So I've had situations in my marriage, my wife hit me up, I want you to fuck me when I get home. And I'd be like, don't just call me and say that. That's a now you come in the house, you ready, you know what I'm saying? And I know when my wife wants some, she used to me putting it down, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so you can call me and say you want me to, but I realize that's because for some reason there has been in her or women in general, like if a woman wants some, she scoot her butt on you. She don't make it so you can be like, nah, go ahead, baby. I don't feel like it. Because I don't think they can handle and deal with that. No. So I want you to speak on to women and explain to them, because I know you would know that because you do all the Reiki and massage therapy and all that shit. Men be wanting to feel wanted too.
Absolutely.
Women to initiate too. Speak on that.
Well, again, you keep bringing me to the carpet. Being a woman that is very into making sure that the man's gratification is present in the intimacy alone. And I'm not just talking about sexual intimacy, but also in energy body work that I do. I have to make sure that he is relaxed, he is out of his mind. And what I tell men, just go out of your mind so that I can be here. And they're like, what? And then they end up just, they're gone. But just me saying it alone makes men go into this realm of, I didn't know what that was, but okay. And what you seem to understand in a woman's perspective is that men crave for a woman to say, babe, you know what? You're sexy. I really want to be with you. I really like you. I really love when your shoulders are just like there. That's so sexy. Or we find something that we're just, I just love it. Your breath, your lips, whatever, your skin, whatever. Men don't know how to take it. I don't know if you remember, I did a video about being flirtatious with men. And I say all the time, I'll do a wink or I'll compliment him or I'll make him smile. If I get that man to smile without a shadow of a doubt, I can get his phone number. Which means I'm telling women that's on here, always remember, if you can get that smile, you can get that gratification. She's feeling me, or I'm not sure she's feeling me, but she made me smile, so I'm going to go over here and talk to her. That's welcoming. That energy that I just projected right there in that moment is what men love, because they want to be wanted, because they don't want to feel like a rapist in sex.
Yeah.
He is entering into you. Okay. So he wants to feel that you want him there, not that he has to be there because it's just for him.
You know, you just said something that a lot of men I've heard speak on in the barbershop. Every time I get some, I feel like I'm raping her. I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? It's like the women make the man feel guilty about wanting some. I know in my life, in situations, a lot of women don't understand. A woman thinks she could just put on some lingerie and your body. No. I've always been honest with my wife. You know what I'm saying? Most men don't like lingerie because you act differently when you put it on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, and this is me joking, but it's serious.
I believe you. No, I believe you.
Men can attest to this. A man could be with his woman laying on the bed, or they coming in from a restaurant or a nice night or anything, and They know they gonna fuck, and the man is literally harder than Japanese arithmetic. He got his 17-year-old dick on tonight. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Yes.
And this woman is always, let me go freshen up. Let me go put this on. You're ruining a peak moment where as a man, when we get a certain age, when I say that 17-year-old dick, I'm talking about when it's like it used to be. Right. That don't happen all the time. So it's a romantic moment. Something happened, and I want to speak on this in a minute. But it's like it's always I gotta go pee, and then the man is being in a situation where he laying there as hard as you ever get, and he thinking, "Will you hurry up? Will you hurry up?" Then you hear the water. You hear this. Now it's 5 minutes and came by. Now she finally come out the bathroom. You was super hard. Now she got on the fucking lingerie. She didn't put on her powdered her face, Liz Taylor, perfume pump. She didn't went in there and did all this fantasy shit and became this new person that come out the bathroom like, and it's like, oh, now you're gonna want to make a movie scene because you got lingerie. You're gonna climb on top of me. And you gonna want to kiss, and then when I kiss you, and I go to suck on your neck tastes like some oil or some shit you just put on. You know, then it's so much shit a woman do to move for a man that I'm just like, women don't understand. Men have a primordial thing in us where I got a song. I want that pussy when you first walk in. And I don't care how your day been. I want that pussy when you walk in from the day. You ain't washed it off. It's slimy. It's got a little sweat on it. That's when I want that pussy. I don't want that pussy when you didn't put on shea butter. You didn't put on some damn Japanese cherry blossom. You got glitter on your goddamn skin. You glowing in the dark. A whole lot of shit you doing. So I said all that to say, women ruin the moment a lot of times for men, not understanding that me as a man, you want to know what make me hard and make me want to fuck my wife and make love is if one day I look up and she in there doing my daughter hair and my daughter giving her goddamn hell. And she be so persistent. And when she finished, my daughter come out that motherfucker hair done cute. And I look at her, I said, man, I'm going to tear that pussy up. I be so hard. Women don't understand that part. No. Take more than like when you come home and your woman is folding clothes, the last of the clothes, and you know she done clean the shit out that motherfucking house. Right. You need some in the oven. Man, that shit make a man so hard, but women just think it's just they ass. Can you talk to the women and explain to them that there's so many things that they can do from a woman's perspective that drive a man and get him going that ain't you shaking your ass in lingerie in front of him?
Well, first of all, we have to be okay in our sexiness, in our raw. What you just mentioned, no makeup, no lingerie. You're talking about in your nakedness. Just coming from somewhere and just stripping down, and you don't have all the glitter and all that stuff that we do to be prettied up. We have to be okay and sexy in that first. Mm-hmm. So the truth of the matter is, if we have to experience intimacy and love scenes and all that glitz and glam because we are not happy or sexy in our raw, sexy selves with nothing, then that is when we find ourselves less likely to feel present in the relationship and present in the now of the sex. Because a lot of times we're thinking about, ooh, he's going to see this. Oh my God, he's going to see that. Ooh, does he? I hope he don't see that cellulite. Oh my God, my stomach is this. Ooh, I got that birthmark back here. Did he see it? All of that stuff that we are so consumed with. I didn't put my eyelashes on. He's going to see me without my eyelashes and all that stuff. And we start to tend to get so overly consumed with the idealistic thinking that we must look a certain way. in order to be sexy. But you got to start sexy inwardly first. It comes from the inside out. So I always tell women that, you know, it's important for her to wear a push-up bra. Now, when I say pushing the girls up, I'm telling women to lose your stomach. You'll lose a lot of that if you push the girls up. You get a little shapely. You'll find yourself to be the hourglass you are. I tell women that all the time so women can use their mind like, okay, so if we sit back and really pay attention to what our sexy is, it starts from inside first. We have to get comfortable with our nakedness. We got to start loving ourselves from the top of our damn crown to the bottom of our feet. I tell clients all the time, listen, I understand that you have flaws and you've been taught this and not that. We got to start with loving ourselves first, physically, our avatar, our body. And then when he wants it just raw, he don't care about taking a shower now. Okay, then let's get it in now. Oh, really? Oh, that saves me a lot of headache. I ain't got to put lashes on.
You want me funky?
I gotta do nothing. Oh, well, shoot. Let me put this hair up real quick and flip it up and call it a day. It makes it easy. Matter of fact, it's a lot less stress for me because I ain't got to do all that. Oh, let's get it.
I'm definitely going to clip that. I want to kind of surmise that because I know as a man, if I gain a little weight, I ain't going to front. If I gain a little weight,
yeah,
and my meat ain't showing like it normally shows, you know, I be feeling a certain little way. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, if you know, as a man, my wife got this saying: if I go when I go to sleep, if I snore, oh, you know, you're at your peak now. Hit the gym tomorrow because I'm not with a man with titties or a man that snores. I know when I get 279, 280, I start snoring. So when I snore, I ain't the same in bed. So I know there are times that as a man, when you fully in shape and everything, and you know you knocking everything out the park, and you know when you giving the kind of the medium tired dick. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know,
well, that's true.
Yeah, keep it right. Keep you be like, hey, I might give 15 more pumps right here, but if you need me to keep it right here 3 minutes like I normally do, I'm gonna be tired. Yeah,
right, exactly. No, that's on truth. Yes.
So
it's important that we as women understand that you can also underperform. But are we going to feel a way about your underperformance, or are we going to help you? Here's something that I teach on my YouTube channel. Also, make sure you guys check it out. My YouTube channel is Coaching Matters on YouTube. So I also talk about on my YouTube channel, I talk about how important it is that when men ejaculate, when they come, it is important that you empty the clip. Now, what I mean is, most of the time, men ejaculate, and once they ejaculate, they get up, or she gets up. No. When you ejaculate, you stay in and you push into it even more, because the prostate needs to be excreting more semen the more that you have intimacy and sex. Also, it can help a man to become multi-orgasmic. And yes,
I just want to say you are affecting me in pull-out game right now. So I need you to put a mother.
For those men that are not sterilized and they have not gotten vasectomy,
Wiggling at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, if you guys are still out here if you have the opportunity to still have babies and you don't want no more, get a vasectomy. That's a great clip. I need y'all to get vasectomies out here. I have already coached quite a few men and they got it done. And now, guess what happens when you have that? You have less.
Listen,
holding
it in there at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, and even Javon, I'm being funny, but Javon, make sure you do that with your wife. Even when you're masturbating, it's important that you excrete all of the semen, not just the semen that feels good when it comes out. I'm talking about even the little leakages that come out.
Look, let's talk about that. because you just said something. You just said something, and I understand this. And we being transparent in marriage. Me and my wife do marriage Mondays. You said hold it in and get it. You know, a lot of times a woman don't want to walk around squishy. You know what I'm saying?
Just to get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, and let me just tell you this.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this for real. This is a real question.
All right.
I feel like I can understand if a woman gotta go to work in the morning and she giving you some and she actually don't come at me. I feel like I can understand that. So you saying you think the man should hold that motherfucker in to the last drop every time?
To the last, yes. And I'm gonna explain why.
Go ahead.
Realize that when you excrete all of the semen out, it really helps for you for your erectile health. As you age, most men have this dysfunction because they have not excreted all of their semen out. And over time, imagine a pipe not cleaned.
He got built up residue in his
Now you see why I say clean.
Miss Carla.
Yes. Miss
Carla. You know, when I share your stuff, I said it's my co-host. She just be knowing shit. That's the little tagline. Hey, look, Miss Carla, sometimes I think you got a dick. I think you know all this shit about dicks and what
I know a lot, baby. I played with a lot of them. Like, oh, this one, bent ones and straight ones and circumcised ones. Listen,
he's coming now that all to come out. Keep sucking it. Now we just need one drop of blood, and once you get that drop of blood, that's when you got him ready. Now he done skeeted a drop of blood off his heart. He really ready.
And listen, what's so funny about that, Javon, is that the more you excrete out, you'll realize that you can also be multi-orgasmic. Men don't know that, but they can do that too.
Yeah, I did that one time. Where I got two back to back where I skeeted and was like, oh, okay. And then some was like, oh shit, I'm finna come again. And it was so sensitive and feeling so good. I was about to stop, but I kept going and I got two back to back. Yeah. And then I was like, what have you done to me? I can't eat, I cannot sleep, and I'm not the same anymore. Oh no, I have to run away.
You went into a deep R&B.
I don't even like you no more. Like, yo, fan. You just did something.
Let me tell you what I call that, just so you understand. Because I have, and even he said he has had that happen also to him twice. But like I'm explaining, it's vitally important that you gentlemen do excrete all of your semen out. And what I call this on my YouTube channel, you can actually go and watch the video. It's called the push-up technique. I've actually coined that name because when you ejaculate, you want to stop and pull out. You just want to be done and turn over and go to bed. No, I always even might tap my man like, hey, look, keep it coming. You know,
that last little skeet out of you now. I need that drop of blood, baby.
You gotta need a little tap on the bottom. Like, come on, push a little more, push a little harder.
It's amazing to me how people don't realize that sex and mental health go together. Sex and mental health go together. Sex and self-esteem go together. Like when you have a health, like it's one thing that's so funny about how people think and view sex and love. Like you say, you're into meogamy, and me and my wife, we into openness, and it's like people think that we don't enjoy each other. Like, well, if you was good to each other, me and my wife, like I said, I'm more for quality over quantity. The older you get, and when you have the freedom to do something, it constrains you. Most of the time, people are out here doing shit because they think they can't do it. It's sneaky. I remember the first time in me and my wife's open relationship, you know, I was so used to lying to women in the past. Well, I really wasn't a liar to women. I was always honest, like, this is me, this is who I am. But it would get so much pushback. I remember the first time in our openness, I was finna leave, and my wife was like, where you going? And I was just like, I'm going to see Sue Ann. Like, Mary Ellen. And she was like, oh, have a good time. And I got in the car and I didn't even get hard like I normally get. I was like, what the fuck? Damn, this shit ain't exciting. I'm so used to having to sneak and shit on a woman. I'm like, I called Sue Ann up. She like, what's up? I said, I ain't coming. She said, why not? I said, shit don't feel good. She said, why? I said, I told my wife and she told me have a good time. And
that went wrong. That went left.
It's just like buying my weed from a dispensary. I like the idea of pulling up. Hey man, don't talk about it on my phone. It's talking code. Let me get a half. And
a lot of people, what you're admitting to, Javon, is that a lot of people don't realize it is the intrigue or the sneaking off that makes it fun. That makes it more intense. However, when you and your wife decided to be open, it's like, well, okay, well, maybe what you have to now share with her is I don't want you to like it. If I tell you I'm going to Sue Adams' house, just say, okay, don't tell me to enjoy myself because that makes me feel wrong. I don't want you to, I don't want you to like me to go over there and hit that ass like that. That doesn't feel good to me.
Or another thing, just the openness of if I always been the type, if I'm dealing with a woman, if she didn't feel like it, sneaking in the bathroom with my cell phone, putting one headphone in, listening, and I'm beating off. That was exciting. Ooh, yeah. I'm beating off. She rejected me and I'm beating off. Look what I'm doing and you don't even know. But when you in a relationship and it be a situation where my wife don't feel like and she like, you want me to beat you off? I'm like, what? She's like, or why don't you just beat off? And I'm like, right here in front of you? Like, I don't know. Like,
you're taking the edge off.
You take it. So it's like when me and my wife got so open, it was like a situation where I'm like trying to get something. She like, I don't feel like right. My wife, this is one thing about my wife. When I say a woman love you and care about you, like my grandfather said, if the woman stop offering to suck your dick when you want some, she don't like you no more. She done lost love. So my wife have always been with her. If I want some, and she's like, I'm a little tired, but I suck your dick. You know what I'm saying? And 90% of the time, I'm gonna say yes. You know what I'm saying? But
of course,
10% of the time, you feel a little sorry for her. You were like, you know what? You tired. I ain't even gonna ask you to let you do that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Or if you sorry and you want her to hurry up and not be like, look, do you mind if I look at a little porn while you suck it? I'll be done faster. And just the openness of the truth.
You're able to have a good time with it.
Yeah, she like, I don't mind if you look at some porn, but I've told brothers to say that before and they say, well, my wife do it. She don't do it often and it takes so long. And then she start feel like she and I'm like, well, won't you look at some porn or something? Look at your favorite dick sucker, and they're like, oh man, she's gonna be mad if you know what I'm saying. Like this is a fantasy person. This is not somebody that's right here in front of you. Right. What do you think about porn in a marriage? Because I've heard so many people say, and because we're talking about sexless love. First, hold on. Let me go back to the original question. Okay. Do you think love can be there and the sex is gone? Like, can somebody just literally lose their libido? Because I hear a lot of times in situations, I've heard older men say, me and my old lady ain't had sex in so many months. And I'd be like, how the fuck is that possible? But it be the couples that get up and go to Denny's for breakfast every morning and read the newspaper together. They be the ones that been together 50 years and the ones that stay together. So is that possible to just lose sexual attraction for a person? I ain't talking about your dick stop working, your pussy stop working. I'm just talking about over time, like, hey, I love you. We in love. We've been together, but you just don't do it for me like you used to. Maybe you didn't gain weight or whatever. Do you think
your physical appeal is gone?
What you think about it?
I think you can still love them. I just think that what that changed is your attraction, or should we say your desire for them has fizzled. Yeah. That doesn't mean the love is gone. Yeah. It just means the love has changed.
Well, it's like I tell my wife all the time. I say to people all the time, me and my wife we've transcended husband and wife. We've transcended romantic relationship. We like brothers and sisters. Like we can't live without each other. There's like a coexistence, like situations where when my grandma passed, my grandfather passed like 6 months later. It's like I don't know if that's coincidence.
Of the same heartbeat.
Yeah,
I would say they were of the same heartbeat. They were
heartbroken. I don't know what it is, but what I'm saying is there comes a time where you can transcend that sexualness. And there have been times where me and my wife have had such a wonderful day, such a beautiful, intimate day that we both be laying in the bed and we kind of look at each other and hold each other almost like, damn. It almost would ruin the night to get sweaty fucking. Like it's like we've had such a great intimate time and we didn't watch the movie and had some popcorn and held each other. And it's just almost would feel better just to go to sleep.
Right.
Literally.
That's fine, but your love is there.
Yeah.
Your love, it cannot die. Your love can only transform.
Yeah.
So that is a difference. Love doesn't transforms.
So let me ask you this. I do believe, like I said earlier, we have always traditionally looked at sex in a relationship as if a man's sexual drive is a fire and a woman has to keep it going. And you have situations where sometime a woman may say, if I fucked him on Monday, Thursday, I got to give him some because if he go too long. So that's what I mean by that fire and keeping that fire going. And a man can tell when his woman is doing that. And the older I get, I have told my wife, hey, don't give me some, just give me some. I really, 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 really am cool beating my dick every day until you ready. But I'm being honest.
But what's so interesting, Javon, that I found is that there is a difference in the type of sex you get and experience. And what I mean by that is you can just be having sex or fucking, as they call it, just to have it. You can also have life-giving sex and intimacy. And that's a whole different thing. You can have soul sex, which is a whole different energy. So when you're talking about those types of intimacies, you realize that in those phases of sex, you can see the men that have their soul sharing and their intimate sex that's just life-giving. They're just not out here thirsty at all. They're just really not. And you can see they have a clear, just driven energy, and they're great. They're fine. But when you have a sexual energy going on and it's just on some, let's get it and we're out, you'll notice that is just very, I would say, temperamental. So what I mean by that is it's not going to take you out to where you can extend that time. So if you were just with your wife and you guys don't really have a solid life-giving intimacy and you have sex with her, you're going to have it within the next couple of hours to get back right without having this thirst in your soul that I got to get some sex.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So it's really interesting how you can have different versions of sex that has a different resonance afterwards.
And even as a man, sometimes sex can feel like a chore. So I understand where women come from. Like even as a man, there have been times where, when a woman is ovulating, it's a difference than when a woman not ovulating. There's sometimes when a woman, like, I need some, you my man, you gonna give me some of that dick. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you feel that pressure of like the performance anxiety. Like I know I gotta get right this time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think enough people talk about the ideas of how we allow TV and romance to affect how we move in our own lives. Say, for example, first base, second base, third base. You know what I was saying earlier about when a woman put on a lingerie, there's a whole, you're dealing with a whole different woman. You know what I'm saying?
You said that.
So it's like when I see a woman in her natural element, like we joke all the time, grandma had that see-through moo-moo on in there, granddaddy coming in, she frying that goddamn fat back, and you can see through that motherfucker, granddaddy that ass over and make a kid every month. You know what I'm saying?
I can't. Killing me.
It has a lot to do with how you run your household. My grandma used to always say, what did she say? Love without finance is some shit. She had a saying. So speak on a woman's sex drive as it relates to struggle and provision. Because sometimes I tell men, hey, bro, the way you talk about your life and the way you talk about these bills and the way you worry about struggling, how you think your woman gonna be horny in the way you fucking talking about this shit? So can you speak on that as far as it relates to a woman's sex drive and provision and how well she's taken care of or how good she feels about her circumstances?
Well, absolutely. I think that when a woman is around, even if a man is negative in his spirit and soul, we got to fix that, because that negativity will roll over into her ending up having a bad attitude. It just goes hand to hand. She's going to be his reflection regardless. So if he's always negative about what we don't have, you have to now shift his mindset and become the woman that he is grateful for and start to show him, well, we might not have that, but what we do have is this. So divert his attention from all the negatives, because all of that is from Black families. We have a tendency to stay rooted in the negativity. We can't never look at a situation without looking at it with a positive view. So if I'm constantly coming home to hearing him talk about all this negative, then how is he going to rise to me? No matter what I do, I'm going to be overexerting myself. It's going to take me at least 30 to 40 minutes to get him rising to me, because he's always in his head about what we don't have. And I got to pay this bill and pay that bill. Listen, the bills are going to be here. And as long as we are in this financial distress, the sex is not going to feel that good. However, if you would help him to get to his higher self and use sexual energy to get him in his creativity and start using your mind as a woman to help him create some things and start to light his fire with, well, babe, let's look at some of your talents, man. You're sitting here, you got all these gifts, all these talents. Let's start placing you in some scenarios to where you can start to rise in your higher self. And then your dick will rise with no problem, because now you're in your higher self and there's the confidence right there.
My grandfather, y'all gonna get sick of this shit because you're gonna hear me say it all the time. My grandfather used to say, the woman you got is like that because you made her like that, because you wouldn't have picked a mean, evil bitch. Let me say it again. If you sick and tired of your woman, you made her like that because you wouldn't pick no mean, evil bitch. Now, that's simply saying when you met your woman and you wifed her or you made her your permanent woman, that woman was lively, she was bubbly, she was everything, or you wouldn't have picked her. If you walk around saying, man, my woman a mean, evil bitch that won't fuck, you made her like that. She was not like that when you chose her. So having said that, so having said that right there, I'm gonna say this, and I think the men gonna be mad at me, some of the weaker men, but I feel like sometimes there's too much pressure on a woman to build a man's mentality. And, it's almost like, okay, I get what you're saying now. Say, for example, encouragement is one thing. Right. But when a man ain't on his shit and you keep encouraging him and keep fucking him to try to build him up, do you think that can just be too energy draining on a woman? Like she realized, okay, I like this man, I was attracted to him, and we had these discussions about the future and goals, but now I realize this man is just not the go-getter that I was hoping he was. This man doesn't have the potential in him that I thought he had. What do you say to women in that situation who genuinely are trying, but just realize, man, this guy just ain't the fucking king I thought he was going to be? What do you say to that woman?
Well, I would tell her, well, first of all, let's look at your situation, and with him not being at his highest self and you doing a lot of attempts to help him, then we got to bring him into a client session with me. We got to figure out what's really going on, because your attempts are nice and sweet and kind, and they have an angle, but that man has to have his own will. He has to have his own vision. He doesn't know his purpose. You've chosen a purposeless, visionless man. And because of that, this is why you're in this situation. You didn't realize that, oh, I wanted a man because we got along so good. We had great sex and we had a great rapport with each other. And I liked his family. We got along. And we decided to merge lives and get married, or merge lives and get into a relationship. But I didn't seem to sit down and look at, well, wait a minute. What's his vision? What's his foresight? Men have foresight. Men that are real men have foresight. They can see what they want to do, and they have a vision. So the woman can help to bring the vision to life. That's what women do that come into a relationship and love affair with visionary men. But if you don't have a visionary, then you're going to find yourself either with a 9-to-5 man. And if that's your 24/7, that's fine. But you need to be understanding that he's only going to be a 9-to-5er. He's not going to be a visionary. Are you okay with that? Or are you now elevated to a different level of height and realize that I'm going to most likely be the breadwinner because I'm going to probably make more money than him? How do you feel about that?
And let me throw this out here just to piggyback on what she said. Even not in the sense of making more money or being the breadwinner, just the idea of, this is where I'm cool with a man that's tapped out right here. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I tell brothers all the time, I know brothers that got great jobs, you know, great careers, lawyer, doctor. And right. Sometimes he said, well, my woman, this, and I be like, hey, man, you know, you was a fucking doctor when your wife met you. You was a little. So, which sometimes men don't understand, women want to see men transition and grow and have a vision. And a lot of times women don't realize that that's what they want in a man, because situation where they've been so taught about, you know, don't marry the cow with the beef and all that shit. They've been so taught to pick a man that makes a lot of money, a certain amount of money. So they don't realize that. I remember when I got with my wife, her ex was a truck driver, and he made decent money, you know, pretty much what I would say a lot of money. And we was just having a conversation, and she made more money than me at the time, and you know, and their incomes was comparable. And we was just having a conversation. I was like, well, dude made good money, you know, what? She was like, I just couldn't see myself being married to a truck driver. And she was like, I don't have nothing against it. She was like, but I've always wanted to be a person to change the world or have some impact on society. And she was like, you make less money. She was like, but you have a vision and a dream to want to touch and change the world. And she was like, I'd rather be a part of something like that. She knew herself to understand, and it's nothing wrong with a truck driver. It's nothing, anything. She just knew. And even with a doctor or a lawyer, she was just like, I want to be with a man that's into art, that's into rhetoric, into grammar, logic. I want to be a man that's thinks he's got a plan. She would rather die on an island with me thinking that I can make this podcast shit grow, or thinking that I can reach black people, than she would rather being with a man making $1 million. That's they just gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that people don't discuss, how their sexual desire in a person could be tied to a person's potential and ability to grow. Yes, absolutely. Is that something that because Because I know I've never been told anything like that in the black community. I've been told if she can cook and clean and fuck you, that's all that matter. And I've always heard women told if he can pay the bills, that's a good situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, for what you just said, I love it because you spoke about what I talk about all the time. And I say that it is vitally important that you take time in your single time to learn of your sexual truth. You also want to know yourself. You want to know about who you are, because she was very crystal clear that she wanted to be with a visionary, because obviously she became purposeful in herself. So now she elevated her own self-growth to becoming a purposeful woman. Now she's looking for a visionary to match her purposeful self. That's why she desires a visionary, because visionaries and purposeful women go hand to hand. And visionaries and purposeful women also understand each other and normally can ride the wave. Women that are really wanting to be okay with the 9 to 5, and they're okay with the, just doing the wifely duties and all of that, the basics, if you will, not to take away from that because it's still dynamic, but I'm saying in that realm, you do start to see and notice that they struggle with visionaries because they become jealous of the vision, and they start to animate the vision as if that's another woman, because his time is consumed. His mind is always on the vision, and he's never available, and he's always traveling. He's talking to this lady and that lady. And I never get no time. He never spends nothing. He doesn't do this. We don't go here. We don't do that. So all of that is not an issue for a purposeful woman, because we understand it. Women that are not in that realm struggle with it.
So some women need to know if they want a 9 to 5 guy, when he get off, I got his time.
Yes.
And some women need to know so let me ask you, I remember, like I said, my grandfather, just sitting back looking at life. And like you was talking about time, what was my point? My grandfather had said some major, it has to deal with purpose in life and sex. Go ahead. I need to, I lose stuff. I got to get that point. Go ahead. You got the mic right now.
No, I was just telling you that it's important and imperative that we learn ourselves, because when we understand ourselves, we can convey to the lover or lovers or men of our choice as women what we desire and what we want. So now when I'm clear here in my mind, heart, and soul and spirit, energetically, I can make sure that I can be close to those men or that man that match and that we're in alignment with. So now we're not conflicted. What I was mentioning earlier is that when you have someone here in vision, and you have a woman that understands just the 9 to 5 understanding, to push her into that realm will take her into a frenzy. It's hard for her to understand. She's in a unknown zone. She's conflicted. She's got all kinds of issues and jealousy going on. She doesn't feel she really matches you and all this other stuff. And the man is like, but I love you. You're a part of the ride. I got you. She's like, yeah, but you got all the stuff and your magnetism, and you got the dimples and the beautiful brown skin. I'm thinking
you. Yeah. I found my point.
Okay.
Slutting your woman out. My granddaddy said a woman that don't let you slut her out don't really love you. Now, what I'm saying is your version of slutting her out is people got different versions of slutting out. What about the pressure of a woman to keep things interesting? Because women don't rarely come to men and say, put on some silk boxers. I need you to keep this shit interesting. But men are visual creatures. So once we seen you naked a couple of times, there has to be something going on that keeps me interested. Yes. So what do you feel about that statement? Slutting out, like doing nasty shit for your man. Like, is that a true statement? Do you think that was a true statement from my grandfather? If a woman don't let a man slut her out, she don't really love him. What do you think about that statement? And then speak on that. Because there are some women out here right now that love their man, but they don't want to get their face cummed on. They don't want to get fucked from the back or fucked on the floor, or he want to fuck it like he want to go hey baby, let's go fuck in the car or something. Me and my wife that went outside and fucked in the car and in front of the house for the fun of it. What do you tell these women that don't want to do stuff like that, that might be have a little bit more scruples or less freaky? What do you tell these women like that? How do they get past, him? Some women don't even want to be fucked from the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you tell women about that got men that want to do some freaky shit and they may not necessarily want to do it?
Then they will most likely be a side chick.
You are so goddamn funny, yo. Just that simple. If you don't slut out for your man, your ass gonna get fucked around on.
Yes, ma'am. I don't try to candy coat it. I'm so blunt, and that's a lot of times I get in trouble for it. But I'm just blunt, Javon. It's true. You have to understand that you have to understand your man's freaky side so that you can know, can you go in that realm with him? Some men have been exposed. I know I saw recently where I think it was Bow Wow. He mentioned that he has to have threesomes or some kind of freaky stuff he's got to have. And I said, okay, so that wouldn't work for me. That's something I'm not going to do. So it's okay.
You know your sexual. What is it?
My sexual truth. I know my sexual truth. So because I know my sexual truth, I know that that's out of my realm. Handsome. Listen, Bow Wow could have got it, but because he's in that realm, he's never going to be fully sexually gratified messing with me because I am not. I'm not into that. I'm not into that level of freakiness that you want to go to. But we have to talk about it so that I can be honest with him. Listen, Bow Wow, you're fine and everything and famous and you a celebrity and all that. I get it. And I understand that you've already been played with in a different realm than I'm willing to go. Yeah. Now, you can meet me in the fantasy or whatever, but I just won't be that chick for you. This is how blunt and upfront I am with it. But a woman that's conservative, you got to understand you're going to always be on the side.
Yeah.
Because even the nerds are freaky. Even the nerds are freaky.
You'll get married and you're always going to be he's always going to be at Marianna Sue Ellen house. It's funny because people have these visions of stuff, and they said when you open Pandora's box, and I know for a fact me and my wife have something real because we've been to a swingers party before. You know what I'm saying? And as a dude, I was the king of threesomes in college. My homeboys used to be like, how the fuck is you getting these threesomes at our young age? And I used to be like,
just out here doing the most.
And I used to always say what my granddaddy said, if a woman really like you, she'll do any fucking thing you ask her to, and vice versa. I just feel like that. If a woman like a man, anything you ask her to do, she gonna fucking do it because she wants to keep you. Right. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna guess. I ain't gonna say this some game because this ain't no game to give. This is just me telling you what I did before. Right. Just to test a woman, my granddaddy said if a woman don't let you slut her out or freak her out, she don't really like you. So I was the guy that was a young man in college that's like, yo, what's up with your homegirl? After I put that dick to her and I'd see she liked me, what's up with your homegirl to be over here? She be looking at me, my homegirl, and I'd be like, shit. And I would just say something like, shit, we done fucked a couple of times. Shit gonna get boring. That would fuck with her pride. Like, what you mean boring? And a couple of days later, you got some weed, some liquor. Like, yeah, what's up? I talked to my homegirl. She said she gonna do it. So I don't understand where it's like when men be like going through this, and that's why I said date on your level. Like, how is you with a woman that don't want to sex you? How is you with a woman that don't? If a woman like you, boy, man, I'm like, what's up with that first cousin? Like, what's up with your best friend? What's up with your auntie? Like, that's how I was. Like, I'm going to test you. I need to know how much you like me. You let me fuck your first cousin or your friend, I know you really like me. That's some stuff. I'm not giving that out as game. I'm just saying that's a true thing that I've experienced. So what do you think about that? The statement, if a woman really like you.
Well, I'm the polar opposite of that. If I really like you, I'm going to be stingy. You're
going to be stingy.
Yeah, I'm not. Hey, I'm not. Shit. out here. Period. I'm not. I'm a full on all heavy on the hetero, as Amber said in the Shay interview. She's heavy on the hetero. Listen, if I am with you, I don't care if you're doing what you're doing, but when you're in here with me and that door is closed, it is me and you. And
okay, I got it. Because I was going to say that goes against your miogamy. Because in miogamy, I get it. You're saying
in the love scene,
we fucking it's me and you. When you leave out of here, you may doing whatever, but when it's me and you. Say, I want you focusing on this ass. It ain't with one ass. I want you when you.
Absolutely, you better know it, baby. That is what it is.
So my thing is this: as we move forward, and you get older in age, we know sex normally in real life it declines. You would think that's the thing that you should suspect. You know what I'm saying? But as you move forward, how do couples adjust when one person literally is, for whatever reason, gaining weight, not as fit, not as healthy, not as attractive, for whatever reason? If the love is still there and you genuinely love each other and you genuinely just not as sexually attractive to that person. And I'm gonna be honest, I used to date this chick and she was very attractive, but she had a little older sometime. And I would be nervous. I ain't gonna front. I would be nervous. Like she was so attractive. Her body was so tight for whatever what it would be. I would be like wanting to have sex with her, but whenever we got ready to do it, and me and y'all tell me, have y'all went through this? I would be nervous. I wonder if she got that little smell tonight. And if she do, it's going to make me get soft. And then I would feel embarrassed because if I start getting soft on her, smelling that smell, I knew I didn't have it in me to be like, I'm getting soft because I smell a little older. You see what I'm saying? So I want the men to comment on that. And how do you comment on stuff like that? How do you talk to your man or get your mate to realize you got a little older, or, you ain't fucking like you used to? Like some things that you used to like, if they ain't hitting no more, that shit can drive you crazy, irritating. You know what I'm saying? If your man loved Missionary and you like that with him, and he 50 pounds heavier, and he want to get on top of you, and now he's sweating and breathing heavy, the thing that you like can go to something that you fucking abhor. So how do you tell couples with that honesty? Yeah. Like, how do you
I always say that you have to change positions often, because when you change positions often during intimacy, you'll start to realize that no matter what weight or size you are, you can find a way to have intimacy, even if it requires.
Oh shit! Say
even if it requires for you to do it a little bit.
Why you gotta ask for everything?
I do. Even if it requires for you to change it up. Sometimes we have to do 69 because we can't do it the regular way. His stomach's in the way. Or
so what you're saying is,
you gotta pay attention to his body type. See,
so what you're saying is, if you love each other, you adjust for him.
Yeah, I've been with huskier men. For instance, I'm 5'1", so I'm small. I'm a shorter stature woman. I'm 5'1".
Husky. Men don't like being called husky, just so you know. That's body shaming.
It's not what, just, he's just, I have an attraction for that. I don't know why. I just do. But anyway.
So husky is like not fat and sloppy, but just a little husky.
Yeah. He's got that thing, right? So anyway, and I've often tried to figure out, sometimes he might not be able to be on top of me because of the fact that it's awkward because of my body size and his. So we've had to readjust and do positions differently. And you have to be creative. You also have to be flexible. This is why body work is so important. When I do energy body work, it helps me to be more flexible, so I'm able to move in different positions and then try different things. It's like, well, that didn't work, so let's try something else. Well, let's try this. Okay, let's do this.
Well, you know, it takes a certain confidence in sex to be switching positions up. Because, you know,
you ain't got to talk about it, show it.
No, yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is it takes a certain level of confidence, meaning as a man, me, I'm assuming, but I can't say that men are judging by the way a woman's body move, by the way the pussy open up, looking at her feet, how she breathing. And if he know if he's in a decent position or a decent spot. So as a man, I know I've been in situations where because I'm confident, I'd be like, well, shit, I'm gonna flip your ass over and see, can I make you feel good from the back in 5 different positions? But I know me as a man, I've been in that confidence. I've had a woman say, no, motherfucker, right there. Didn't you see it was good right there? Motherfucker, stay like this. So you know what I'm saying? If a man lacks that confidence, switching positions is something that's scary for a man. Meaning if he know he get his thing off this way and she get her thing off that way, and now it's like, okay, I want to switch up and you ain't sure, So are you saying basically, I'm hearing this central theme. You got to be with somebody that you like enough to be open and honest with for anything to fucking last, huh?
Absolutely.
That's just a fucking boy.
But the honesty has to first start with you to yourself.
Yeah.
That's the first honesty. The honesty to you, from you to you. In other words, man, I know I got a fat ass and he is not really endowed. So him hitting front and the back probably isn't going to be a good idea.
But so what if that's her thing though? What if she loves
she probably does, but she knows that he's not that size.
He be slipping out from the back.
Right. And we can't put no extension on him, so we're going to have to work this out. So let me get a new enjoyment. I was with an ex that was not endowed. He was fairly small, to be honest. He was just not endowed. So I had to figure out a way. Well, I got a fat ass, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to compensate and enjoy this while he's in there, because
you got a fat ass, Miss Carla. I ain't never seen you standing up. I'm just
I do, and it's always got me in so much trouble. But anyway, so I'm trying to figure out to myself, well, what the hell? What am I supposed to do with him?
What do you do? Okay, give us an example in that situation, because it's obviously some black women out here. What do you do?
I had to because he wasn't a large man, so I had to pretty much most of the time I was doing missionary. I was on top.
You was on top of him.
I'm sorry, not missionary. I was on top. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was
that's the wrong description. Yeah, I was on top, not missionary.
Yeah. Because I mean, I've had a woman on top of me, humping me. That's a position. I'm saying
that I didn't have him. He wasn't. I wasn't able. We weren't really doing too much doggy style.
So let me ask you this. This is not being funny. I just got to know for the people that don't want to ask. So if his meat won't long enough to hit it from the back, when you get on top, your clit was rubbing against his hair. That's how you got off, or how did you get off?
No, because I learned to change my sensitivity, because the clitoris is normally the woman's main way to come to climax. But I also learned that you can have climax through the vaginal space, through penetration. So if a man is fingering you, a woman can get off. Yeah. Well, it's like a finger. So just enjoy it that way. Just go ahead and just go from there. So I ended up learning how to be orgasmic. Right. Learn how to be orgasmic through that space rather than trying to get so caught up.
Ladies, that's the thing. Shallow fucking. About 2 inches in, if he do it right.
Yes, he can hit it, and you can find yourself in a better position. Also, there's 5 ways a woman can have an orgasm.
We're gonna have that conversation one day. We're gonna say that for a Friday night. And we gonna build up to that because you know I feel like I be knowing what I'm talking about, but I'm like 5 ways. Like, what's the bitch got another hole that I don't know about? I'm just playing, but I think I know the 5, but I don't want to be like this sexual expert. I want you to tell them, and I could be totally fucking wrong. So I think we're gonna like set up a date. We're gonna plan that as a date and make a flyer for that because you know I think that's something men and women need to know alike. But we definitely had a good conversation. I think we need to finish this conversation. I think we need to talk more about stuff like this because everybody want to be in a relationship, and fucking is a major part of a relationship. I remember telling one of my female clients, and she was like, her dude want to fuck too much, and she like him, and they want to get married, and he don't believe in pulling out. And she was like, you know, he coming in there every day, and it's creating a little odor. And I'm like, hey, what you gonna do?
Yeah,
this is a part of it.
right.
You with an old school G. He don't pull out. Like Miss Carla said, he gonna pump it and hold it, milk that prostate to the last little drop come out that motherfucker.
Absolutely, yeah.
She has a legitimate gripe though.
Yeah,
what would you tell that woman? This woman said that she's getting an odor because her man is fucking her every day, coming in her, and he wants to marry her. They engaged, but she just like she's developing odor, and she feel like she can smell herself during the day. What would you tell this woman?
She needs to. There's 2 things she can do to reduce the scent. First of all, after sex and after the intimacy, she needs to do frequent urination. So what I mean by that is she needs to drink more, have more water intake to clear herself. That's very simple to do. She just needs to, because the urine actually helps to, you know, remove a lot of the semen, but also the semen also goes inside of you anyway. So it's not, it doesn't sit inside the vagina. It actually rises up into the vaginal canal. So all she needs to do, he needs to get, and try ask, what does he need to do? He also needs to watch his diet. If he's eating a lot of onions and garlic and things of that nature, it can bring an odor to his semen. So he needs to also be mindful of changing his diet and adding some things to his diet to improve his taste and also his odor as well. Because if she's getting an odor, he has it too.
Now, my question is for that. Okay, let's get rid of the odor situation. What if this woman just don't want to go to work squishy every morning?
Well, you're not squishy. If she would urinate after sex, she showers and bathes, and she does she use wipes? Wipes are very important. Wipes are very important.
Trey Prue had the question.
You can get dude wipes, or you can get regular wipes and cleanse.
Should this man compromise with her and pull out sometime? Because like I said, now I'm not being sexist or anything, but every question you answered, none of those answers were the man need to. You said he need to eat better. I'm talking about as do you think that a woman has the right? Well, not the right, but if she's dating a man and the man want to come in her every time, does this woman just have to agree, even if he not making her stinking? Does she just have to agree to him coming in her every time, or what do you think about some compromise, or what? Or do you think, like you said, there's a pressure for a woman to just please her man, even if she don't want to be came in every day, just let him come in you because he's a fire that got to keep going? What do you say to that?
What he doesn't understand is that semen is supposed to be very good for the woman's mind.
Yeah, because I read it. The male semen go to a woman's brain, and when they do an autopsy on a woman, they can tell how many men you had sex with by many different.
It actually will make, if she has a man that's smart, and it sounds like to me he's probably a visionary if he's having sex with her this often. She needs to be in gratification of this, and she also needs.
You hear that, Chris? Chris, look, my wife was a hairdresser when I met her. Now she's working on her PhD. You hear that, Chris? I see the smartness in you.
No, but I'm saying it's very important that your camera's gone out, by the way.
Yeah, I know, and I can adjust it. But I know I'm gonna keep it about an hour and 30 minutes. But I actually ordered a cord that would let me go as long as I want to without. But I kind of like it because I don't want to be too long. You know what I'm saying? But
we're having people on here, they're enjoying it. But what I was telling you is, I think it's important that a woman understands that is golden when a man inserts inside of you and when he nuts inside of you, because what that does is, especially if that man has intelligence and he has vision, it actually helps to improve your intelligence and your vision as well. It is vitally important that he does not release himself outside of you. You should always want all of it. Every
so
drop.
Check this out, ladies. Now let's make this clear. And this is why I like real scientific evidence and knowledge. Like I said, they can do an autopsy on a woman's brain in her death and see traces of different men's DNA in her. Now, this is what I like spiritually. I mean, knowledgeable, meaning that man's DNA is in your brain. It affects you. Yeah. So let's stop calling it soul ties and spiritual ties and all that. Women be thinking just because they had to be in love with the man to have a soul tie. No, you can just fuck somebody, he come in you and he's still in you, and that affects your mentality. You ever notice that the higher a woman body count, the crazier the bitch is? Not being funny. It's a mental illness. You've been fucking too many guys. I want to talk about that one day. But Miss Carla, I appreciate you. And is there anything you have to say? You can have Miss Delise put up your information. Is there anything you got to say before we get out of here?
Before we go off of that, I wanted to say what you did say. And you said something powerful that I want to make sure I say, which is this. It's important that we remember that when a man does come inside of you, he is leaving his DNA. But even with her having that part, that's one thing. But you mentioned something about the multiple partners. If she has a lot of partners, then it makes her back crazy. But I think that she takes pipe too soon. That's what makes her crazy. I think that when you take pipe too soon, as far as molestation, or you had pipe and you didn't know what to do, and you can't handle the pipe that you're getting, that's when you're more crazier than you are with multiple partners. At this point, I think a woman that is mature and she has, different lovers, I don't think that's going to make her crazy. What makes a woman crazy is taking something in too soon and she wasn't ready. Yeah. Now, as far as what I want to share is, I do want to share with everybody. I'm glad you guys were all here. We love that you are here. Remember, it's ranting and raving conversations. We're always open to hearing what someone wants to hear about the next subject. If you guys have ideas, please share it with us. Also, you can join my channel, which is Coaching Matters on YouTube. Go over there and subscribe. And I have a Patreon called Carla Nicole. You can find my Patreon and sign up for the $7 a month subscription, because currently I am doing Power of You collection. And for my men, I have a collection for men that's $15.99 a month. And this, my gentlemen, is for you personally, where you have the loyalty, TEA, from me, where I give you a lot of intricate information for you to overcome just some of the quirky stuff going on in relationships and how to be a better man. So check those things out.
All right. I appreciate you, Miss Carla. I appreciate y'all. Y'all tune in tomorrow night, same time, 9:00. We're going to be back with more information. Like I said, we're going to be talking. This is a grown-up podcast. It's real conversations with real people. We're going to start doing some panels. So if you want to have some discussions, and not necessarily debates, but just discussions. I hate the word debate, because shit, what the fuck? Everybody ain't going to agree. I ain't trying to make you think like me. We just discussing it so we can have some different opinions and different perspectives. So y'all, like I said, hit us up. Y'all can email us for topics. You can put a topic in up here. We appreciate y'all. As y'all see, my Cash App is the Master Teacher. Her Cash App is Carla Nicole with the 1 in place of the I. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow night. Y'all. Hold it down. Boop, 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 boop.